So SAT scores for June 1st just came out, and I was very happy with my results. It was my second time taking the SAT, and I got a 1590. So I thought I would share about how I prepared and also some of my recommendations. I want to preface this video by saying that there are a lot of parts of the SAT and standardized tests in general that I'm not a fan of. I feel like a lot of the difficulty of the questions comes from the way the tests and the questions are written, not the actual content. So studying for the test really isn't the most fun experience because you might know a lot of the content already. It's just kind of how it's being phrased. And also, I've noticed a lot of negative comparisons and issues where students will really base their self-worth on their scores. So, with that said, I will say that on the other hand, studying for the SAT early on in my high school career was really a very good preparation for me to learn test taking strategies and also skills like time management, working under pressure, and being consistent. So it was a really good segue coming out of middle school. So I'd really recommend thinking about the SAT in that mindset and not as a measure of your knowledge or intelligence, and of course to not compare yourself to others or to bring others down based on their test scores. So I did take one prep class from my high school on the SAT in the summer after my freshman year. And I mostly took it because I was just at home that summer. I didn't have anything to do. So I took it. The course was 8 days. It cost $200. And to be really honest, I did not like the class at all. And I know test prep classes aren't meant to be enjoyable, but the way the class was formatted just did not make me excited to learn at all. And that made it super hard for me to focus. And basically the way it was formatted was we would practice questions for a couple of hours and then we would ask questions about what we didn't understand. So that got boring pretty fast, and I think it's just so hard to learn whenever a class is not engaging, and the classes, these test prep courses just aren't designed to be engaging at all. And although the course wasn't too expensive compared to, for example, taking test prep outside of school, I feel like I really wasted a lot of time, which I could have used to do other things. It was really draining for me to do those classes every day. And I couldn't really name a specific thing that I learned or applied on any of the SATs that I took afterwards. So for me, I think having freedom to study what I want to, it helps me learn. So those courses just were not a good fit for me personally. I'm sure there are some students who will do well in those kinds of environments and have found success from these kinds of courses, but that's just my personal opinion and learning style. So if you feel like you're kind of the same way, I would really recommend just studying on your own time, using all of the free resources online, taking advantage of test prep YouTube channels and Khan Academy, which has official SAT prep. It's definitely 100% possible to self-study without any classes. For example, the questions on the SAT are nothing like AP level questions. It's mostly just testing your test taking skills. So I think that's the key to cracking the SAT. So the way I practiced is I would do 15 to 20 minutes daily for the entire month leading up to the SAT, and then making sure that my daily practice was focused to the types of questions that I got wrong on my practice tests. And then the week before my test, I would ramp up the studying to maybe a bit more than an hour a day, depending on how much I could focus on it. And I would say don't try to do 3 hours a day or something like that the day before the test. I don't think cramming for tests in general is a good study habit. So like I said, I feel like the SAT really helped me learn how to study and how to manage that time so that I don't get burned out. And then another thing, taking the PSAT. My school requires students to take the PSAT for free each year. And even though the PSAT scores don't really count, I would definitely recommend studying for these. It's just 15 minutes a day, and it really prepares you for those test taking skills, and for the real thing, it gets your mindset sort of warmed up, and you can really perfect the way you personally want to study. And when you're in your junior year and you're taking the real SAT, a lot of things can happen. You might be busy with extracurriculars or a job, and that might limit you from studying as much as you'd like to for the real SAT. So preparing early on just gives you a lot of freedom in your junior year, and you don't have to stress so much about it. So, little recap. I feel like the SAT is just not a measure of your intelligence, and you're more than just a score. That is not how you should be measuring your self worth or comparing to others. And if you didn't do as well as you wish that you did, I hope that this video will help shed some light on my personal experience, how I've been thinking about the SAT, and I'd really just see it as an exercise to develop those test taking skills. If you're a freshman, a great way to prepare for the rigor of the high school is definitely practicing those skills early on in the SAT. So I know it's definitely not enjoyable content. It's very hard to engage and learn with the content, but I think shifting the way I thought about the SAT really helped me to kind of stay consistent with my practice and do well. So I hope that helped you guys. I just wanted to get on here and share my experience because the reason I actually took a prep course in my freshman year was actually because the first time I took the PSAT 8-9, I remember going, I don't know how to study for this test. I didn't understand it at all. I was so confused about how to study for it. So I was really hoping that the test prep course would clear up some things, and it really didn't help me that much. I feel like it was something that I kind of had to develop on my own and figuring out a schedule that works for me. So I think just getting some experience and getting some studying or test prep experience will help you really find a lot more success with the SAT.